Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your friend Bats, aka Jared. So, I really wanted to talk about this new show, The Friendly Neighborhood Spider Man. And a little backstory here. I was born in the 80s, kid in the 90s. I loved the Fox Kids Spider Man cartoon. That show is fantastic. I love it to this day. And I even enjoyed Spider Man and His Amazing Friends on reruns when I could catch them because I was a big Iceman fan as a kid. And so it was just, I just was a big nerd for Spider Man cartoons as a kid. And as I got older, there's a new show coming out called Spectacular Spider Man. And I wasn't really too sure about that show in general because I thought the art was really weird. And as I watched a few episodes, I realized it was excellent. It was a really, really good Spider Man cartoon. And it was kind of that same feeling I had with The Batman, where I wasn't too sure about it at first because the 90s predecessor was so amazing. And the new, 2000, late 2000s successor was weird and different. And so that same thing happened with essentially my two favorite superheroes in cartoons. And so when I followed Spectacular Spider-Man all the way through all its crazy airing times, and I finished it as it came out. I watched the last episode. I was really sad that it ended on a cliffhanger, and really hoped that maybe one day we would get another season, but that never happened. So when Marvel acquired, or when Disney acquired Marvel, they said they were come out with Ultimate Spider-Man. I got really excited because I was like, oh wow, every Spider-Man cartoon is just good. And so Ultimate Spider-Man wasn't. And so it was very shocking for me. I was like, what is this Family Guy humor? What the heck is happening? This is not a Spider-Man cartoon. This sucks. And I was a big fan of the Ultimate Spider-Man comic, and they said that Bendis was a part of it. And then when it came out, I was like, what is this? And I tried to watch it on a number of times, tried, and I was like, this is just not it for me. And so when Spider-Man 2017 was coming out, I was like, oh, this looks fun. And then I watched the first few episodes, and I was like, I think it's just over. I think new Spider-Man cartoons for me, it's not it anymore. It's they don't make them for me anymore. I guess that's fine. I got two great ones. I'll just watch those if I ever want to watch a Spider-Man cartoon again. So let's jump to the future, which is now. I saw the trailer for Friendly Neighborhood, and I was like, yep, that's definitely not for me either. That sucks. All right, well, whatever. Like at this point, I felt really burnt, and there was never going to be another Spider-Man cartoon that I liked. And oh boy, was I wrong. So I watched it, and not to bury the lead, but it's fantastic. When I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, that's not for me. And then I saw pretty much all the usual suspects of everything is woke and Disney hates you. And I was like, yeah, I don't really think that's the case. I think it's just it's a modern Spider-Man cartoon on Disney Plus. It's not that serious, And so I recently, the other day, I'm like, let's give it a try. Let's, I was hearing some things on YouTube that it was peak and it was great, and is it great? Question mark. Best in spectacular? Question mark. And I'm like, outside of like the usual suspects of everything is woke people, a lot of people are saying good things about it. So let's give it a shot. Let's see what it's about. I'll watch the first 2 episodes. And if the first 2 episodes are really good, we'll go from there. And so essentially the first action piece, I was like, sick. I really thought the Doctor Strange just showing up right in the beginning, fighting a symbiote, was like super fun. And then when we the time jump to the first action set with Spider-Man, I was like invested at that point. I was like, that was really cool. The animation is weird, but it's different, and I like it because it reminds me of like 70s Spider-Man comics. And then that's because I'm currently reading 70s Spider-Man comics. I just finished the Jerry Conway era, and just the colors and just the visual aesthetic reminds me of like John Romita Jr. John Romita Sr. reminds me of Ross Andru, and I was like, yeah, this looks really cool. Sometimes the animation is a little weird. Sometimes the animation has these like weird flat. They look really flat. Like sometimes like the cell phones won't look like a 3D device. It'll just be a flat line or something. And sometimes the hands or something, it catches you off guard, but then you're like, oh, that looks weird. But you just kind of forget after, a minute of it. You're like, okay, whatever. And so after about 2 episodes, I was like, this is really good. I'm going to watch a 3rd episode. And what happened is I watched the 3rd episode. I was like, this is really good. Watched the 4th, then the 5th, then the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. I watched all 10 episodes in one sitting. And I don't binge. I don't like to binge. I think binging is like unhealthy, but I'm not working right now. I'm on medical leave. So what the heck? I got nothing better to do. And so I just really, really liked it. And almost all the changes were interesting to me as essentially a lifelong Spider-Man fan. It was nice to see a new take on Peter Parker while keeping the spirit of Peter Parker. And so as I was watching it, I was like, is this in the MCU? Because it's mentioning like the Civil War stuff and but Norman's here instead of Tony. Like, is it not or is it? I'm confused. I was a little confused. I had to look it up. It's like, it's MCU adjacent essentially. And that's kind of weird, but I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's like Doctor Strange is here, so like he has that time thing, so he might screw with the time, and I guess it's like a parallel universe MCU, and I don't know. That doesn't matter to me. What matters is that I really cared about this version of Peter Parker, and I actually enjoyed the idea that Ben died before he became Spider-Man. And so I'm not in the camp of Ben Parker is who Peter is always trying to live up to be, because that's not who he is in the comics. Peter's always trying to live up to a better version of himself. And I kind of appreciate them not like giving this Uncle Ben with great power comes great response. No, that's not, that's not it every time, but that's just me. What I did appreciate about this show a lot was the supporting cast. And that's because in the Spider-Man comics, the supporting cast of Spider-Man are very involved. We're always getting these other characters, and instead of having the usual suspects like Mary Jane and Gwen, and we did get Harry, but Harry was very different. And this Nico girl, I didn't really know anything about her, but I appreciated, Peter having a friend who was a girl who he wasn't like chasing after, or she was chasing after him, or he had to keep, running away on dates and stuff. Like, I'm glad we had this new, different version of a girl that Peter's not in love with, or she's not, I just thought that was different and interesting. I like that the jock wasn't like the bully, and instead he was actually like a reverse version of Peter, where he was very responsible and then slowly starts negating his responsibilities, where Peter is kind of irresponsible and starts being more responsible. They're like reverse versions of each other. I really thought that was cool, the Lonnie character. And then, I was like, this guy becomes Tombstone. So looking forward to that. I remember they were saying that like the show was going to be a prequel to the movies, but then that's why I got really confused for a while. But I had to look it up, and either way, I think it's good. Harry, I like this version of Harry, just because he's essentially a modern take on Harry. Because in the comics, he's essentially like rich kid who picks on Peter until Peter becomes his friend, and then they're nice with each other, and then Harry doesn't then like Peter because he kind of accidentally stole his girl and then killed, Spider-Man killed, you know how it goes in the comics if you read the comics. But I like this idea that this rich kid who is like super popular and famous doesn't really have any friends, and Peter becomes like kind of his first friend. I like that idea. The Norman thing was really weird for me, but I liked that slow burn of you're like, oh, he already knows that he's Peter. So when inevitably he does become Green Goblin, it's gonna be bad. And so I did really like that. Overall, I thought this show was fantastic. I was so happy to see, I'm almost 40, and I was like, yes, we got a new good Spider-Man cartoon. And I'm like, that's so silly to think as almost a 40-year-old man, but it made me really happy, because I was like, I don't like that when Spider-Man's stuck in this limbo of crap. Not just in the comics, but also in animation, and say what you will about the movies, but I haven't really enjoyed any of the MCU movies. So it was kind of cool to see Disney get Spider-Man right, in my opinion. I was like, all right, cool. You guys wish you would have done this from the start, but you got here eventually. So that's cool. So, that's just my thoughts on the show. I really liked it. The animation was different and new and fun, but also kind of this is weird. But I liked all the new characters and the different takes on things. I know some people weren't happy about how Spider-Man got his spider powers, but when we got to the scene when it explains it, I did this oh, that's cool moment. My initial thought was oh, that's really cool. That I liked all the changes. I know people are race swap and blah. I don't care. I don't really care. There was literally a blue-haired lesbian in the show, and it didn't bother me for half a second. So. I'm a lifetime Spider-Man fan, and will always be happy and excited to get new good Spider-Man anything at this point. So those are my thoughts on the show. I'm really looking forward to season 2. I think I might even rewatch the first season. I won't binge it again, but I'll probably watch episode for episode again just to really kind of get a full feel of the show. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to season 2. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you thought of the show. Did you watch it? Did you not watch it? What do you think of it? Down below in the comments. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great day. Thanks.